right, hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ozzy and Keats, the wildly popular podcast. We're not great, we're just okay. John Keating here. Chris Osgood is there. I'm in Western Michigan. Ozzy is in Western Canada as we join you, and we continue to be brought to you through the good work of Podcast Nation in Troy. And I am here at the Oddside Ales Tap Room in Grand Haven because of Wi-Fi issues that we don't need to go into again. But it's kind of nice to be in a tap room
Isn't it?
and work. Yeah, while
I
you're at
say,
home, your wife
mm,
is just on the other side of the wall, and she can't wait to have you
I
do an
listen.
errand of something.
Yeah, you know what? Like I agree with everything you said. Other than just we could rephrase that Wi-Fi issues to instead of the Wi-Fi, we could put personal there for the reason why you're at
Personal issues, yeah, yeah.
personal issues while you're at a bar
Right.
again.
Yeah. I'm surprised they let me in. There are some, some places I don't know, you're not wanted, but I got money. Yeah, you're not wanted here anymore.
No,
No,
you
they're
look.
they're they're great here, and I'm very, very careful about that. As you were, even though we've heard the story about you in handcuffs getting arrested once upon a time, but we urge everybody, especially after having been out for a pint, to be careful.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. So I've always told people I'm aware of what happens to pretty boys like me in the county jail. So I've always been very careful about that. Um, all right, summer continues. Your summer continues there in Western Canada. Do you miss Michigan at all? Because it's been great. It's a little rainy right now as we record this, but
I heard it
it's been great. It's
like
been smoking
like
hot.
100 degrees or with the humidity.
Yeah,
Talk
right
to
on the
some
lake. It's not
friends
so
there.
bad here. Yeah.
I always do. I come here because I miss here. I see all my friends and my family, and then I do miss Michigan and look forward to coming back soon. So that will be good and getting back into the swing of things. So that's always good. You got a lot of things to look forward to. You got to think Tigers are going to make the playoffs. You got that. You got the Lions, the Wings starting back up. So
The Wings
hopefully,
starting back up with Chris Osgood being a part of the broadcast, which I'm going to greatly enjoy as I sit in my recliner watching.
you know what you're going to love right now. This is part you always liked with me. I'm just going over my schedule now. The schedule. See the reaction I get
The
because
Wings
what a
schedule has been
cluster.
out for a good
Oh,
long while. Mickey Redmond has already decided what games he's probably not going to do because of the road trips that the long road trips that he no longer makes, and so
man.
that puts it, you right in the crosshairs.
Yeah, I'd like to do some more. I didn't last year. I'd like to do more road games. Part of it was Max was playing a lot of hockey last year. The other half was because it was your last year that you were doing. I mean, we didn't announce it till you didn't announce it till later in the year, but we knew. So I was trying to do as much studio slash home games in the arena in the concourse as I could with you. So maybe this year I'll be doing a little more with the great Ken Daniels, one of the
Right. So
best
you
feedback.
wanted my last year to be particularly miserable, and that's why you wanted to make sure that you were sitting next to me.
I
Um,
tried my best.
I
I
know,
did.
I know.
I did.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened to you. I mean, I did predict that the stage was going to crash down, and it did. That was part of it. It's like that movie Final Destination when you think that, like you think, that's just that's not real, but it might be. You know, like I did say, you're going to go out with a stage breaking and fall off the back end. It almost happened. My
I can't
gosh.
to the people listening. I can't tell you how many scenarios he has shared with me about how my life was going to end, and taking great delight in telling those stories that I'm going to end like this. I'm going to be caught with this. I'm going to be there doing that. That's how it's going to end for me. And it's right around the corner. So
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
figured you.
maybe there should be like a lottery to figure out how it's going to end for me, and then there's money
It could be a betting. Could be
yeah.
a betting
Get
line in
We got to
Vegas
get
for.
FanDuel involved in that. How does Keating end? How does Keating end up? What's the
Yeah.
plus 150
Where does he end?
on the
I got a
end?
few scenarios, but my other ones came close. They did. So I was almost right, but thank goodness that didn't happen. But the stage did break, and that was one of my favorite.
Yeah, we
My
that
oh,
again. We had my whole family on the stage for the last home game that I was broadcasting, and it was a big surprise. And so we posed for a picture, and it was more than the stage could handle. There 10 or
oh
12 of us up there. So
yes, too much.
yeah. All right. more questions from the audience. Would you
Yeah.
care to join us for one of those? Ozzy, who are the top 3 locker room clowns that you played with during your time with the Red Wings? In other words, who kept the mood light when the team needed it most?
Mark Bergevin.
That's
He
from
was
Steven Rosso, by the way.
Yeah, Mark Bergevin. He was outstanding. It was always something. He was very good at it. Defenseman for the Wings. He was a general manager of Montreal for a little while.
Yeah, right.
Great
I
guy.
guess I didn't see that fun-loving aspect of him
Oh
in his
God,
capacity.
he was a beauty. Um, I I would say Malts. You just saw him. You mean Maltby for sure.
Kirk
He's
Maltby, I should mention, Kirk Maltby will join us a little
yeah.
bit later in
He
in our podcast.
he for sure was uh, a character in the room, obviously, and Thomas Holmstrom. Homer was sneaky. He sat right by me. Um, he come from Sweden. He couldn't speak English, and then by the end he could speak English. Then he speaks something of a hybrid half the time.
Swinglish, we called it.
He was he keep everybody lighthearted. He was very good at it as well.
And I guess I saw more of a wink from Homer. I mean, just sort of I guess I didn't see the full on um, fun-loving guy that I mean, we know he loved to have fun, but
Yeah, he's
he was
great
always
to get
great with
on.
us. But
If we get him on, that would be outstanding. We have
yeah,
somebody we haven't seen for a while. He's very funny. He's good. Now, again, we got to take into consideration he is way up north in Sweden, way up north. And I just took a trip there, Finland, Sweden. He's way up there. So, depending on, I'm hoping the English is maybe if it's a quarter good, we'll have him on. It'll be part of the entertainment for us.
yeah. I mean, and he would come back after. It was the same with baseball players who went home to Latin American countries. They would
Yeah,
come back, and the heavy accents had
be
returned,
hard.
and it took a while to get back to
Oh, for sure.
how they wanted them to be. Right. So, um, all right. David Nerner, Ozzy, who was the hardest player to stop when he had the puck 1-on-1 against you?
The hardest guy for me was Joe Sakic because he shot in so many different spots. Deceptive. Marion Hossa was deceptive as
That Sakic wrist shot, right? That was
yeah,
the
but
he was known for.
But Hossa and Sakic shot with their hands in front, so it was hard to read their shots. Goalies will read players' shots off their sticks and where they're lined up. Those two were in front. Sakic could shoot everywhere, whether it be low stick side, high glove, 5. He had a lot of different spots he did shoot, and you could never tell where he was shooting it. And Marion Hossa was the exact same way. But so I'd have to go with Joe Sakic. He was for sure my number one nemesis over the years.
And how much of a book did you keep on opposing
We
forwards,
knew them all.
particularly the snipers? I mean, did you make notes to yourself or just sort of filed it away
He
in
had mental
that
notes.
vast mental hard drive that you have?
Yeah, you knew all the guys from mentally from playing against them and from watching each and every guy, especially the better guys. Brett Hall like the one-time crossbody high glove, or he'd try and shoot harder low stick side sometimes, but mostly try and go crossbody. So Joe McGillen would go high glove or he'd go 5-hole for the most part. So you knew a lot of guys what their number one, number two things were. Maybe that changed over time. You'd watch on TV or you'd watch games and you'd see what guys would do. I think it's a heck of a lot harder now because a lot of guys have multiple stuff they do. But then for sure, it was always Sakic for me because he had 3 or 4 shots and it was a very hard, quick snapshot. It was just hard for me to read. So by far and away, it was Joe Sakic.
What about Al McInnes, who had the legendary slap shot, one of the hardest shots in the NHL? Was he became your teammate at one point, right?
Yeah, I played with him in St. Louis. It was awesome playing with him. He was an outstanding player and a great guy, and very fortunate to be able to spend time with him. His shot was hard and heavy, so he could blow it by you or through you, and it was coincidentally as we talk about him in practice, John. He never unloaded it. He kept it low. He didn't want to hit anybody with it, right? So
Well,
he was very in control. He managed his shot in practice, but in a game, wow, unbelievably hard shot. I wouldn't say as accurate as some guys, but was able to blow it right by you and real heavy shots. So
all right. Speaking of heavy shots, there's some bar talk that's coming up. We're going to be joined by your former teammate, Kirk Maltby, who we found in suburban Detroit. And there he is, the great face of our friend Kirk Maltby, forever a member of the Detroit Red Wings, forever a teammate of Chris Osgood, and he has to have innumerable Osgood stories to share, right, Malts?
You're not lying there, but how many can I really tell?
It's a podcast. You can tell all of them,
No one's gonna hear?
especially the good ones.
No one, all right, no one's gonna hear? Okay, yeah.
No one's going to
Well,
hear. Nobody listens to this. It's okay. How is your relationship with Chris Osgood? How was it?
How is it? How was it? It was, I think it's still good. Obviously, we don't see each other very often, especially summertime when he's back in Canada in BC there. But I think it's good. It was great. Great. We had our little clique of guys that got along extremely well, and on road trips for dinners and movies and maybe a few beverages and stuff like that. So I think you one of my best friends on the team, and we had a great time.
yeah, Maltz, what a career. I think when I looked this morning, because Keith doesn't think I do homework, but I do. I knew this. He played like 1,072 games. Now I know it's a miracle he made it that far. I know why.
Yeah, yeah,
But like like how many guys have done that? Not a lot. That must be pretty cool for
yeah.
him to be able to have done
Well,
that.
yeah, no. I mean, it wasn't even a thought. And like, when Oz, when you get into the NHL and you're there, you're happy to be there. Like it's not like I want to hit this goal and that goal or whatever. I wanted to play and play as long as I could and be in the lineup, which was touch and go early on with Scotty, but it was once you kind of get established, and we had some success there in 97, 98, and things like that. You kind of see some things that you can maybe hit down the road if you stay healthy and whatnot. And when I got into the low to mid 800s, I definitely thought it was doable. I made it to at least 1,000 and added a few more. So it's kind of a personal milestone that I'm extremely proud of, because it means you played a long time. I was able to hang around.
And I forgot you played in like the World Championship hockey there. You and Drapes, right?
Yeah, so we
Like who was on that team? Like there were superstars in that team.
oh,
Like
Mario was still playing.
what was
Wow.
that like playing with Mario and all those guys? Who was your
Well,
goalie? Was it Berger?
uh we had
I think it was Patrick Waugh.
no, not Luongo, Brodeur, and I can't remember who the third one was, but yeah, for the World Cup of Hockey there, it was, I mean, just walking in that room, like I'm like, how am I even here? Like, Jesus, like, and I know that if I just looked around the room, it was like I pissed that guy off, I pissed that guy off,
Yeah.
like, so it was it was a great experience. And Wayne Gretzky was one of the general managers that helped put the team together. We had some exhibition games. I actually didn't play in any of the games. They kept winning and winning, and if it's not broken, don't fix it, I guess. But honestly, like I had a great time. Mario Lemieux. I remember going to dinner one night. It wasn't a team dinner, but it was just a bunch of us. And he was sitting there, and like he was the nicest guy. Like I didn't know what to really expect, but I was just like, he talked to everyone. He was just down to earth. It was awesome. But Drapes got to play. He scored a big goal. And the final game was in Toronto, so obviously
Yeah.
that was obviously pretty
But
cool
that
too.
was your world, right? Was to piss people off. I mean, that was your job on the Red Wings forever, was to piss people off, and you were really good at it.
Yeah, and depending who you ask, I'm probably still doing it today, but
Your
um
could I get your wife to weigh
she's
in
not
on
here.
that?
She's not here. So yeah, no, it's just kind of, you everyone grows up like Ozzy probably was like one of the best goalies growing up in this minor hockey, and then going into junior had great career, gets drafted. I had really good numbers in junior. Like I scored 50 goals in junior, and
Right.
and
Big time goal scorer.
well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but don't ever. I mean, Mac is always never shy. He scored 54 the same year that I scored 50. That he scored more goals than me. But it was but when I turned pro, my first year was in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. I kind of figured it out pretty quickly. I wasn't going to be a goal scorer at the pro level. And I always enjoyed the physical play, the games within the game. And fortunately didn't get myself into too much trouble, but I also had some pretty good teammates to help, back me up with a lot of it as well too. So between me and Drapes with the Wings, which is, it's just kind of funny because there was always a term in at least back when we were playing, it was like because college guys were just kind of coming in, there wasn't a whole lot of them. It was always for some reason a lot of people thought Drapes was a college player, played college, and so they're always, oh, I hate that fucking Drapes, that college
Yeah.
puke. It was always something like that. So but yeah, it was our role. And like I said, we had Joey, we had Mac, and then
Yeah.
obviously some other guys like Marty and Shanny and guys like that to help with some of the extracurricular stuff. But
Then
yeah.
they traded for Drapes for $1. But Malts, I remember we traded. Was it you for? We traded for you because Scotty wanted you to go be like that forward checker, that pain in the ass, and go after guys and whatever.
Yeah.
What was that like coming from Edmonton? Because you guys that was on the down turn for Edmonton, so you guys weren't very good, lost a lot of games, and now you're in Detroit with a chance to win. What was that like? And now you're closer to home in Cambridge.
Yeah.
You're like an hour and a half
Yeah.
away.
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't necessarily happy that I got traded. Not because of Detroit or whatever team it may have been. It was just we had a young team there. We weren't very good, like you said, Oz. But a lot of those guys: Dougie Waite, Jason Arnott,
Yeah.
Freddie Brathwaite. Like we had a good young core. Scott Thornton. So I was disappointed because we were hoping to build something there, or I was hoping to be a part of something being built there. And then coming to Detroit when I got traded, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's the year that the points and wins record, and I'm like, what am I gonna do here? And it's, so when I got here, it was, and of course, Scotty never really talked to me. Like he just said hi, welcome, kind of thing, and that was about it. I talked to Barry more than anything, and
Barry
that
Smith, the
first year
assistant
that I
coach.
got here, I was kind of in and out of the lineup, and didn't know, really where I stood overall. But fast forward to the next year, and signing Joey and then putting Joey Drapes and I together, kind of fast tracking there. But it was, the rest is history. But no, it was just a part of the game that I always enjoyed doing, and it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that was so now you guys are the grind line. How did that change for you? Like now your guys' popularity in Michigan, I was there. Now you're like it goes like Fedorov, Steve Yzerman, grind line.
I don't know
Did
about
Rock stars, right? They were
Yeah.
rock stars.
like I
Yeah.
think fit right into what Michigan is, and you guys were and still are for that matter. I mean, one of the greatest checking / can score a bit lines in history.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of, I think, one of the things, like, not that we scored a bunch of goals.
The big goals though.
Some big
A lot
goals.
of
I
big
mean,
goals.
first one that comes to mind is Drapes against Washington,
Yeah.
in the Stanley Cup Finals. But, it was just at the end of the day, there's only one puck. You can only put so many guys on the ice and power plays and stuff like that. So you need guys to be different from the Steve Yzermans, the Fedorovs, Shanahan, stuff like that. So, I was like I said when my first full year here, training camp starting out, I was in and out, and then all I heard were these rumblings that we were signing Joey Kosher, and I remember just thinking like, that's another body, that's a roster spot.
Yeah.
Like, where am I gonna am I one? I don't know who else was there. I can't remember, but it's like it's gonna be someone's got to go, and then I forget who went, and then I don't know how long it really was once Joey got there, but Scotty just put the three of us together, and we kind of played okay, and then played okay, and played well, and did this, and the next thing you know, we got a name, we got a T-shirt. It's nothing that we expected. I still don't know how that came about or who it was. I think Drapes likes to take credit for it, but
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it was it was pretty cool. I mean, we got a book that just got written, so that was kind of neat to have a book. And it's like I said, it was just that was our role, and I thought we did it pretty well, and and it helped us have some success.
Well, plug the book. Who wrote the book, and what was that? What was that like to sit
Yeah,
down
yeah.
for interviews? You don't have. Yeah, you don't have to grab
It's right here.
It just happens to be right here.
Yeah, Keith Gave. Yeah,
Okay,
Keith.
Keith Gave wrote
Yeah.
the book. Our pal Keith Gave, and
Yeah.
I mean, how many interviews did you have to go through? All of you, I guess, to be a part of that book.
I didn't really ask the guys. I'll see Mac tonight. I'll have to ask him, but um, I did a couple, 3 maybe. But at first when Keith reached out to me about it, I'm like, really? You're doing? I'm like, is it like a picture book or like, what are you doing here? And
Coloring book?
um, yeah, so like I'm not a big reader. If it's not People Magazine or Us or something like
Oh
that,
my
I don't do a
god.
whole lot of
Oh my
reading.
god.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, it was. I mean, when he told me what he was trying to do, I was honored, and I had no problem. Keith obviously is a, he was a big part of the Russian Five stuff and all
Longtime
that.
hockey
So
writer in Detroit. Yeah, right.
yeah, so so I knew he'd do the best he could with what we would give him. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even read the book yet. So,
Okay.
yeah, so don't
All
keep
right.
that on the down low.
Well, get
But
back to us on
yeah, for sure.
how that
Yeah.
reads. Um, y- Chris Osgood won 3 Stanley Cups, and Kirk Maltby is here to say that's cute. Your 3 Stanley Cups are cute, right? Because Maltz won how many?
Yeah,
Four.
4. But I always say
4.
it should have
Yeah,
been 5
4.
and he should be 4. So it's we won't go there though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2009. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Still sour about that.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. I
But I
still.
mean, what are take us back to those celebrations? Seeing your name on the cup, getting the cup to a party, all those kinds of things from Kirk Maltby's perspective.
I mean, you know, n- it was a dream come true. I mean, it was, you know, the first when we and to win it at Joe Louis Arena after the drought that we had, like it was just surreal. Like you just couldn't. You were kind of in. It was almost you had to pinch yourself. Was it real? Like, did we really win the cup kind of thing? And the just the celebration and family that would come in and like people that just wanted like you couldn't go anywhere that summer without people just wanting to congratulate, like just never thought we'd see it. We all, because obviously they had, and Ozzy was a part of those teams, that either got upset, got beat by Jersey, like then we got beat by Colorado, like we were supposed to win, and it's like we kind of finally just were able to do it. And I mean, I can't speak for Oz as far as his celebrating, but it was probably equal in the sense there was a lot of parties, a lot of just, I mean, that first week, you know, we have the cup and it's almost like we needed to go. We needed to go for a little bit and just we got to dry out a little bit and but it was so much fun. Obviously the first one, the partying got cut short a little bit by the accident, which was
Sure.
horrendous. And and it's I get asked like, someone asked me a question like if you know uh yeah, would you give up a cup if you could have Vladdy back? And I'm like, absolutely. And they're like, you would? And I'm like, yeah, because we probably would have won more with Vladdy if he was around and was able to play more. But yeah, it was. I mean, and then to go back to back was unbelievable. We had a pretty fun summer training camp. I'm like, man, we must have been pretty good because I know we did our share of partying and to be able to go back to back was extremely special. But yeah, it's as a kid, it was everything. I mean, I've won the Stanley Cup 50 times or 500 times in my driveway playing mini sticks or street hockey with my brother. And but to actually do it and physically have the cup in your hand and now our names on it, uh, it's what we play for.
Well, and you won the cup for Vladdy in '98. To see him on the ice with a cup in his lap and the team around him is just still goosebump stuff.
It is. And when people ask, like, you get emotional about it because I actually just saw Vladdy at Kim Muir's golf outing in Salem, just outside Ann Arbor about a week ago. And I went over and said hi to him. And he's duh, like he's, yeah, Russian, yes. And he had this special wheelchair where it was able to prop him up and hold him up. And I mean, people today still can't get enough. They want pictures from Vladdy. Hi,
Sure.
Vladdy. Like, and he's engaging. He says hi. He says whatever. They tries to answer the question. And yeah, it was just a absolute shame that it happened. It should never have happened, but obviously it did, and we've moved on, and we've tried to do our best for him and Sergei Manatskhanov, who God rest his soul has passed away. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was unfortunate, and to win it in '98 and Vladdy coming out and Stevie putting the cup on his lap, it was it was unbelievable.
I want to go
Yeah.
to Malts' last ever game because it was
Oh
one of my
no.
favorite days ever.
Well, yes.
It was it was a contradiction because it wasn't my favorite,
Did
but
you
it
have a
was my
Did you
favorite.
have a nickname for Malts? What'd you call
Falcon.
him?
Falcon.
Wow.
Falcon. What's that? What's
The
that from?
Maltese Falcon. You know what that is?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. So the Maltby, the Maltese Falcon. You can
Because he
call
can
him
fly
Falcon.
like nobody else. That's why we named him.
Okay.
And he can. But his
right.
last game was the best against Ottawa. Your shoulder was a mess, right? Was it your back or shoulder? But Maltz had a lot
Yeah,
of
it was,
injuries in the end.
yeah, it was my shoulder. It was my right shoulder, and yeah, I'd been taking, that was back in the day, when the restrictions on medicine or access to medicine was
Yeah.
pretty lax, and Marty Lapointe would go into the trainer's room and grab a thing of Toradol and come out like a little rattlesnake and asking who needed it. And but yeah, so my last couple of years it wasn't good, but we had a roster issue and all this. So the best way to get around it and just get to the playoffs where you could have a wide open of roster as many as you want was I went and got my shoulder done. And my last game was at home against the Joe, or at the Joe against Ottawa. And yeah, I scored in the first period on a
Oh.
backhand that
Sizzling backhand.
it wouldn't even have broken a pane of glass. It wouldn't even broken an egg. That's how
Couldn't shoot
soft.
the
I threw the
shoulder.
goalie off so badly it went in. But and then of course I'm getting the right, and I celebrated with my like there's nothing wrong, whatever this and that. So and of course media want to talk to someone in between periods, the CBC, and so it was Gary Galley. So I come in and Todd Beam and Ozzy were there, and they got smiles, and I'm like, "What are you guys?" And like Beaver's like, "Yeah, Gary Galley wants to talk to you at CBC." I'm like, "Oh, okay," So he gives me the towel and gives me a water bottle. I'm walking out, and they're following me, and they're just acting different. I'm like, "What?" Anyway, so I get to Gary Galley, and I'm doing the interview, and sitting there and nothing, and then we're done. And then I turn and I take a drink of my water bottle. Well, I spit it out. There's beer in my water bottle. And they
And
were
who did
praying.
that?
They were probably praying so badly that I would take a drink of it
On TV. We were in the
on
coach.
TV live.
Yeah, we were in the dressing room watching the interview on TV with the water bottle that we knew had beer in it, hoping that he'd as a mid question, I'll just take a drink of it while he was on there. I
Yeah.
marked it up Hockey Night in Canada beautifully on the side of it,
Oh,
fill
yeah.
it with a Molson Canadian.
Oh yeah. Well, the funny thing is, not the funny thing, but the night before, I knew I wasn't supposed to play. Babs had told me that you're not going to play the next game, and it was the last game before it was Olympics, right?
Yeah, you had a charity event that night in
Yeah, I had one of my wife's good friends, her mom passed away from ALS, so they do a fundraiser every year, and it was the night before a game, which we would never have gone for drinks or had drinks if you're playing, but I knew I wasn't playing, so I'm like, I'm gonna indulge. So it was a great thing. We went back to their house. I mean, I don't know. I got home around 2:30, and come down. So on the way down, I'm like, I'll just get a good sweat, go back to go to the dressing room, take a sauna, sweat it out, come back to the house. We were all leaving to St. Thomas for the break after the day after the game. Ozzy's family, Drapes's, Ron Sanko's family, friends of ours, and mine. So, anyways, long story short, I'm in the sauna. I think it was with you, Oz, and
Yep.
I see we're like, oh, there's Bat, and he's coming in here. We're like, what's he? He opens it. He goes, why are you telling the media you're not playing? I said, because you told me I wasn't playing. He goes, well, you're playing, and he slammed the door shut. I'm like, I hadn't packed for the trip. I still reeked like booze. I'm like, oh my god, like this is unbelievable. And then I go and end up scoring, which didn't know at the time it was going to be my last game and my last goal and my last CBC interview, and so it was kind of meant to be, I guess, in some way.
Did you know that was going to be your last game?
No,
I mean, you hadn't made that decision yet.
Well, I had once I knew I was getting the surgery. The timeline was I was going to be probably cleared to play around the last week of the season, but you still have to wear a roster. So I would just wait. But when they went in, it was a little worse than what they thought it was, so it took a little longer. And I think we played San Jose, or that's who knocked us out. And I was like, I probably could have maybe played the last game, but I wasn't probably quite ready. But no, I didn't know. I signed another contract that summer, a 1-year deal, which I knew that was probably going to be my last year. Came into training camp. Team Dillinger, tell him to wake up.
Oh, that was a great story.
Yeah,
Don,
and
What's the
we
story?
had our
What's
team.
the story?
I'm on Maltby's team, and we had a pretty good team.
Yeah.
And
This is in training camp. They're broken up
Now
into
you got to
groups.
remember, we had a really good team. So,
Yeah.
and we're in the community there. We did a lot of like charity stuff, and we did a lot of stuff on the side of actually playing. But there was hot air balloon rides, fishing trips, paintball, golf.
In
It was-
Traverse City, right?
yeah,
In
you could
Traverse
sign
City?
up for this stuff. So there was a lot
Yeah.
going on, which was great. I mean, it was like that then. And I think we had a charity event or something, right, Malts, or something
Yeah,
at a ski hill because they're trying to save the ski hill. So we went there, so next thing you know, as we've said many times, we had a good time and we're the early game, but you practice for half hour before the game. Well, Maltz is at the wrong end to start the practice. We're white, they're red. I'm playing the first 30 minutes. I'm under siege. They're laughing on the bench. It ends up being like only by fluke 0-0 after the first half. Maltz
Oh my
goes up
gosh.
the second half. He gets a goal, the game winner, and assist, right? We win 2-1. But between the halves, one of the coaches, our coach, who was our coach, Maltz?
can't remember. Might have been like Mark Howell or someone
Yeah,
like
comes
that.
down.
that came-
And they're in the bird's nest on the far end of the rink, all the scouts
Right.
and the man.
Right.
They told tell Team Dillingers to wake the F up. Now Dillinger was an establishment up in Traverse City that we go to and hang out. So we won 2-1.
What's the name of this place? What's the name of this place? Because
Yeah,
I've never
you know
been
what
there.
it
I
is.
don't know what you're talking about. I have no knowledge of this place you're speaking of.
We win 2-1. Maltz gets a standing ovation when he scores the game-winning
Oh,
goal. And he gets 2 points. He's plus. We win 2-1. And I'm sitting in the room across from Maltz, and I'm with these young guys. Derek Meach at the time, who's played for us a couple years later. was very-
Michi, yeah.
And they're all sitting there looking, and one of the young guys looks at me and goes, how does he do it? I go, what do you mean? He goes, how does he do it? He's talking about Maltz. How does he do it? Because Maltz is +2. He goes, he's +2. I went to bed at 8 and I'm -1 and was awful. I go, well, that's a good lesson for you, young man.
Yeah.
But we had fun at training camp. I missed those. It was awesome. People treated us great.
it was great. It's
We were
unfortunate
taken
those days
care
are
of.
over.
Yeah, it was. The teams would come up there. We play games. We scrimmage. We have a red-white game. Stands out, be packed. There'd be people outside. We'd be there for a long time, Maltz, over 10 days. But it was fun. You went there to kind of get in shape, get yourself ready. It was wonderful. That's one of the things that you're done playing. You miss going up there and having fun. You're with the guys and you're golfing and you're training. You're working hard. You get ready for the season. But it was a heck of a lot of fun. And that was Ken Holland's baby. He loved that. He set that up.
I sure did.
And unfortunately, they're not. They're done with it. I think they're gonna have training camp up there, but they're not gonna have the prospects camp up there anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's too
Well,
bad.
Malt, you mentioned it. As you get closer to retirement, I just went through this to a degree, although we're still doing this goofy thing. You have this conversation with yourself about how much longer do you want to do it? How much longer can you do it as a professional athlete? For both of you, Ozzy, I'll start with you. What are those conversations like when you know you're getting close to the end?
Oh, this gets too hard. I mean, you're playing games. I don't want to say you're having conversations with yourself, but the regular season gets long. I mean, honestly, like you go through the season, you love it when you're younger, when you're in your mid 31, 32, which we're very fortunate to play as long as we could or did. It gets tough, and then you really love it the last 3-4 years, Maltz. Like you love going to the rink, you love training, like hanging out with the guys, you love everything about it, and you don't want it to ever end. But you just know because your body essentially shuts down. You get slower. You don't have the same hand-eye. The injuries that you used to be able to fight through before, now you can't. So it all kind of builds up over a period of time, and then it just comes to that point where you just know. You just know it. I mean, it's like putting the horse out to pasture. You know when it's time just to become a trotter. Just eat hay and trot around the pasture and look good.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I meant to congratulations on your career and your retirement, John, by the way, too. Sorry.
Thanks,
I
Maltz.
meant to say that earlier, but for me, it was the summers. I just found it was getting harder in the summer to like dedicate my time to doing the conditioning stuff. And you had to do it, especially as the game had changed. Like when we first kind of went to camp, we were in the Mickey Redmond era where it was like, they do 50 push-ups, 50 stuff like that. Like it was getting a lot more
Yeah.
intense with all the training that you had to
Oh,
do and whatnot. So I just found it was like, we have, like you had young kids and you're occupied and again, we're not, like you said, also we're not spring chickens.
yeah.
So, retired after training camp and slid up into the press box for scouting. So, I can't complain at the end of the day. Would have been nice to do one more, but
Like before, you used to go to camp to get in shape, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then at the end, it was like you had to be in tip-top condition.
Yeah.
And then my first
Going
year
in,
coaching,
going in, right?
yeah, my first year coaching, I got realizing I'm like, okay, where's my second? One of the two, doesn't matter. I realized, okay, this is the right thing. I remember I was sitting in the room and Malt's your favorite two people. Ken Hitchcock and Mike Babcock were in there.
Gumbo.
And they were critiquing Hedrick Zetterberg and Pavel Datsuk of they didn't look good in the 3-on-2s and they did do this and that. And I was just sitting there and I wasn't running at 100% again for some reason. And I'm sitting in the corner. I finally said, well, I said, Ken, I can tell you this. Hedrick Zetterberg's golf clubs are behind the net. He's going golfing at Arcadia today. And Pavel Datsuk's fishing rod is in the back. He's going because Pav loves salmon fish, remember?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he salmon fished the whole time there. And I said, all I know is this, Maltz. When the opening night game starts, those two will be the best two players in the ice beside Lindstrom. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
difference now.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you got to like be ultra impressive on the first day of camp. You got to be good right through. It's kind of expectations are kind of that's tough. I mean, it was always like you come to camp to get into shape. Remember, Maltz? You'd have
Yep.
2 days, you'd be like exhausted, and then
Oh,
by
yeah.
by day 8 or 9 or 10, you started to feel real good. Then you started getting ready for the opening night.
Yeah, like I don't even think Pavel skated at all while he was at home in Russia in the summertime. I don't think he skated until he finally
No,
came back.
he'd
And
be
then
unreal.
we'd be skating for a week or 2 weeks or so before training camp. Pav would just show up a few days before camp. Didn't look like he missed a beat and just did his thing. So
These days, you are a pro scout.
yeah,
Take us through that. What's involved in that, and how much you're away from home?
yeah, away quite a bit. It is nice when the Wings are at home. I can go to home games. I'm at anywhere depending on how the schedule works, especially now with, last year with the Four Nations, they had the break. This year we got the Olympics, so there's gonna be a big break. But anywhere on the low end of 4 games a week to sometimes it might have 7, but 5 and 6 for sure. But it's what I love doing. It's what I know. I don't know much about a whole lot else. So it's when Kenny offered it to me once I retired, like it was a no-brainer for me. But it can be a grind. You get in the dog days of the season and you can even see it with the guys that, it's a long season. You get into that January, February time and guys are, whether it's banged up and fatigued and this and that, but it's I love staying in the game. The travel's the hard part, I guess. Especially, post COVID with flights are not as
Sure.
plenty as they once were and this and that. But yeah, I mean trying to find players in a salary cap world is tough. Everyone's now trying to do what St. Louis did a couple years ago with Edmonton and I don't know if that'll ever happen like that, but Drapes is involved with or runs the amateur side and has done a great job finding some young guys with the draft. And I think we're in a great spot. I think we're moving in the right direction. And I know a lot of people are probably like give me the finger or whatever when they're listening to this, um, but I feel like we're a team that again you can't control injuries, to especially to the wrong guys, but I think we can make the playoffs this year with what we have. And I believe we're going to make some tweaks to try and get even better between now and the trade deadline, which is a long time away. But yeah, so long-winded answer, but I kind of love being involved with the team. I live here in Michigan, played here for how long I did, and it's just home for me.
You're looking at opposing players as opposed to opposing teams, right? You're looking at individual players who the Wings might have interest in bringing in or keeping an eye on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's 5 of us spread out North America for pro scouting, covering little territories. Yeah. So basically trying to find guys that are either for a trade purpose, free agency, guys, so we have teams that we're responsible for. So if hypothetically a guy from, for me, say Columbus gets put on waivers, and Steve maybe might have some interest, you'd be like, hey, what do you think, this and that, and I put my 2 cents in, and then at the end of the day, ultimately it's Steve's
Got
decision.
it.
But yeah, so just trying to, free agency, trade deadline, that's kind of, you just go out and watch, and then um try and, just give your best opinion, and try to find the right fits for our team, which y- 31 other teams are doing the same thing.
All right. Well, if you could find a different partner for me, that would be good. I would welcome that. And when you talked about retirement, that's basically why I retired, because of the knucklehead that I was on TV with. I just couldn't take it anymore, as I'm sure you, having been with him for so long, can appreciate.
Well, yeah,
You're playing
I didn't, I was never really around you guys enough to see the dynamics of the ins and outs,
It's
and
horrible. It's
day-to-day
horrible.
process.
Awful.
But I mean, yeah, Chris, he loves to mess around, likes to have fun.
Chris
Uh
loves Chris. That's what it
I
comes
don't
down to.
know,
Chris
really.
loves
Yeah,
Chris.
Hey, sure.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just know Chris. When I got here, Ozzy was pretty quiet, and he kind
I
of
miss
was,
that.
but
I
there was
miss
always
that.
something, but he always, eventually everyone figured out he was parts of pranks, whatever it may be. So there was a handful of suspects. I was always one. Ozzy was one. Matthew Danino was one. Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, and I'm sure he's told you about the wall that we had back in the laundry room with all the pictures that were all doctored up, and that
Got torn
it's a
down.
shame that
No,
it had to be
no, I
taken
don't think we've
down.
heard that story. What is
Oh
that
my,
story?
it's it should be in a museum somewhere.
It got torn
Honestly, it
down.
was absolutely fabulous. It was unbelievable. And this guy's not like, it wasn't like going on a computer and editing this or using AI
Got
like
it.
today.
Scissors and masking tape.
Yeah, and you'd have that little scalpel, and oh
Yeah.
my god, it was one of the. It was, like I said, it's a shame that the wall got taken down, because
Pictures
there
of
was a
whom?
tour coming through there. They were
Pictures of
trying to
whom, and
show,
what would you
Well,
do to
for
them?
instance, I put Drapes' head on Chuck Norris, stuff like
yeah,
that. And
Okay,
with
then,
well,
no shirt.
I mean, that's fairly tame. I'm gonna guess it went south from there, though, right?
or I put like the evolution of Drapes' fitness, stuff like that. Or, but just
I
the
think you have
example,
to
but
see
Drake,
it to really appreciate
yeah.
it, to be
Okay,
honest with you. And I
all
don't
right.
know if you ever took a picture of it, Oz, because I know I did. But that back room in the laundry room where we, Jim Bedard would always change, and
Oh,
and he still blames me. But Jimmy would never buy glass. He needed glasses, but he would never go buy glass. He would just go to the dollar store and buy those cheap, little
Readers, yeah,
readers,
right, yeah.
and we would always miss him, like hide him on him and this and that. Well, one day, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was not me. It wasn't Chris either. But someone went into the wax. You could dip your hands in wax, and it gives a coat. It's like a therapeutic thing. Well, someone did a couple coats of wax on Jimmy's glasses, then put them back. And then when he came to go to get them to do
we had the
whatever to put them
meeting.
on,
Remember we had
yeah.
a meeting. He had no glasses. He couldn't see what he was doing.
Oh my
Oh,
God, it was.
Oh man,
But like, Jim Bedard was part of our group too. I shouldn't leave him out, because
yeah. A coach,
Frosty was
yeah,
on our
somebody
team
who's
too.
supposed to be leading the way is part of the
our fearless
sinister mob.
Well,
Yeah.
we called it on the plane. We sat. Who was it? It was me, you,
Frosty,
Jimmy, and
Chris
Frosty.
Coppetto.
Yeah, and we called it the table of trust, which was anything but.
But
Um,
Malts, back in
and
the day, remember the first plane when we took off from
uh,
where did we take off from? Out in way I can't remember where that was. And the
Oakland,
plane,
the Oakland airport.
yeah, I'm not a great flyer. I'm not even so sure I'd get on that plane anymore. The only thing
oh,
that
we had
got
to
us,
do the emergency landing.
yeah, the only thing that got us back and forth there is because the beer cooler was directly behind our seat, and there's like a huge drawer.
Yeah,
But oh my
yeah.
gosh, that
And
plane! You wouldn't even,
Murph was yelling. He was he
oh,
was yelling like we were going. I mean, no one knew what was going on, but like I remember hearing Murph, and then guys start you hear the cracking of the cans because guys were nervous, and we had to do an emergency. I think we were in like San Jose or somewhere in
Yeah,
California,
that's where it was. I
and we were
remember that. Yeah.
going to Vancouver, and we had to do an
yeah,
emergency landing in Sacramento, I think.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that Redbird. I mean, listen, I flew coach in when I
Edmonton.
played in Edmonton, and we would do our trips, and we would have 4 to 5 hour layovers in airports,
Oh,
and then we'd have 7-8 o'clock a.m. flights out to get back home or to get to where we were going. And I felt so, thinking back on it, I feel so bad for the people that got, and as rookies, you would get a middle seat. So you'd be in it was
Oh,
horrendous. So
man.
to me,
Oh, man.
Redbird was luxury.
Yeah, right.
At its
It was
best.
fortunate.
Hey,
Lucky.
hey, Malts, thanks for being with us. Thanks for working us into a bit of
Thanks.
your summer, and hopefully we'll cross paths soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have a great summer, guys, and hopefully I'll see
Yeah.
Ozzy at the rink, but hopefully you'll see you at a game sometime
See you
this
soon,
year, John.
Malts.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.
All right, and that's it for us. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. We'll see you next time on another installment of Ozzy and Keats.
Ozzy and Keats is produced by Zachary Davis and Bill McAllister and proudly distributed by Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan.